to you by Bandwagon Radio and the Omen Channel, where entertainment news, current events, and much more is corresponding for the masses. Not only can you hear her, you can watch this beauty weekly on Mondays with MsMedia.
Welcome to Mondays with MsMedia. I'm your host, Celeste Mose, MsMedia. Today I have two guests. I am so excited to have them both in studio. As I told you last week, one is a surprise guest, the other you know, Je'Dah Don. She is so dope. I've been listening to her music all week. Both of today's guests are engineers, writers, recording artists. They are real true artists. Let's get into the show. Je'Dah Don, welcome. Am I saying your name right? Je'Dah Don.
Okay, no, it's just Je'Dah Don.
I threw a whole D in there.
Yeah. A lot of people do that.
Okay.
I'll just say, don't feel like it was just you.
Can I call you Queen J? Because that was what I had been rocking off all week when I was telling my makeup artist, shout out to Miss Wilson, who put me on your music. You like it?
I love it.
I told her I wanted to do a cut crease, and she was like, no, I got something better.
Well, she definitely, I think her play on it was, super original, because she definitely gave you the cut crease look, but it's even more fierce, so boom.
Fierce. You said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah, and I stand on it.
And she stands on it, and so it is what it is. Period. She said what
Period.
she said. So like I said, I was introduced to your music by my makeup artist, and it's actually a couple weeks ago. She was playing Lanes.
Really?
And I was like, these niggas do be lame. That was like what stood out for me, like the hook in the entire song, and then I went back and listened to the words. I thought it was a really well-written song.
Oh, thank you.
Other than there being so many lame individuals, what was the inspiration for that piece?
Well, I was really inspired, honestly, by the beat, to be
The
honest.
beat is tough.
The beat is really tough. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, ain't nobody got these beats like me. They be lame. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, it just came something smooth, something quick.
It's so smooth.
Just something, something easy.
Okay.
It's the truth, so.
Okay, so listen, let's go backwards. Where did your career officially begin? Because I've been asking Miss Wilson, who is the wife of her management, shout out to Free Will Management. I asked her questions about you, because I like to know as much as I can know about my guests, but then I do like to not know everything. Sometimes I want to be surprised at your answers. But she told me how old you were, and we're going to get into it, but I kept holding on to your youth while listening to your music and thinking, what life did this young woman live? Because I hear it in her music. Where did your career begin?
Well, I was a born bred writer, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yes, I've always been a bookworm. I love just the art of writing in every way, shape, or form. So I was always doing that. So it was always either songs, raps, short stories, scripts. It varied, to be honest.
Nice.
So, I feel like my rapping talents kind of evolved more than my singing voice, if that makes any sense. So that's when it kind of gravitated more towards the rap.
Okay.
And it started off, to be honest, with Instagram freestyles. I posted my first one and I got a huge reaction off of that, and that was the first time I had ever did anything social, on social media, as far as my rapping. I was always rapping in my car with my friends, kind of thing. But this was the first time I ever posted.
You put yourself out there,
right? And the reaction from it was really overwhelming and really surprising. So that just made me want to keep going. And I've always known Free. I know him as my uncle, Free.
Okay.
He's one of my dad's closest friends. Literally from the beginning, I can remember he was always in the picture at the events, at the cookout.
Wow.
So he's my uncle. So
nice. It's so important to have someone in this industry that you trust.
Right.
Because most people you cannot trust.
Right, yeah. So I'm very grateful for my team, because
Yeah.
I definitely built a team around people I've known for years.
Yeah.
It's all family. It really is just all family. But I had always been in my friends' studios and stuff. So I had a couple songs that was never mixed and mastered, seriously. But I was spitting on it. And my mom has all my songs even before I was really recording. So they ended up going out of town not too long ago. I think it was probably 3 months. Maybe I might be.
I know when it was. It was back in November.
Yep, that, around there, yeah.
It was back in November.
Yeah, they ended up going on a trip for my parents' anniversary, and my mom was playing my music like she always does, and he picked up on it, and then that's when we started really get seriously breaking down.
Who's the he that picked up on it?
Uncle Free.
Okay.
Who was already dealing in management. So us together, he was just like, we need to get you in the studio, and I was like, yeah, put me in the studio because I got songs after songs after songs. So the album actually, the tape actually came together pretty quickly. It was already songs that I had over years.
Let me ask you.
And a couple new ones.
You had him in your back pocket.
Right.
Why are you now tapping into it?
Well, I've always been a perfectionist as far as my music. So like I said, I was in friends' studios. So they was never mixed and mastered. So these was just files on my mom's phone, on my phone. So it literally was just, and I think it was God's timing, to be honest. It really was, because when I first started really writing, I was probably like 16, 15, and I just wasn't in a, I know now that I wasn't in a place that I would have been ready for it.
Gotcha.
So I think it was just all God's timing. He was always there, and it just ended up folding together that we came together, and now we created this, and we get the ball rolling, so we're starting now.
Timing is such a big deal. I totally agree with that. I think that when you take a step back and you look at all of the different things that played a part into who you are right now, you're like, oh, so like you might have been already doing this back in the day for me, God. You just wanted me to mentally and emotionally and financially be at a place to handle those responsibilities. So, welcome to the stage.
Right. Yes,
welcome to the stage. Where were you? What was the moment in life that you were in where you decided, now, I'm going to give this my all now? Because we all have that, right? When you're an artist, you still have to work to pay the bills. I'm coming from corporate America, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to keep being a recruiter, or do I want to chase my Hollywood star?
Right.
When did you make your decision?
Well, like I said, I had already been in the studios, but I wasn't going to invest in something that I didn't feel like was giving me the results that I wanted, So I was a sitting duck. I knew it was coming. I knew that I'm going to get in the studio consistently one day. So I was just building up on my lyrics.
Time.
Yeah, I was really just being patient about it. And I was just letting God bring me through the trials and tribulations to give me topics that I would write about, later. But I've always actually owned my, ever since I was 18, I've been an eyelash technician. So I had my own business. Yeah.
Individuals?
Yes, individuals, yes. Yeah.
I desperately need you.
Okay.
Because every week Miss Wilson got to play them games with me. I know she's about sick of me in my games where my eyes water. It takes us an additional 12 minutes every week to actually get done with it, because I like the lash piece of it. Like once you we'll talk.
Right. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
You can give me so much of my life back.
That's a go already. As soon as you said that, that's a go. But yeah, so I still have that running, but I try to stay logical about it, so I definitely still am very invested in my business, and I'm just juggling both and
multiple streams, my sweet dear.
Oh yes, we love those.
You gotta have that.
Yes.
Gone are the days where you can have one job, possibly even two jobs. Like one full-time and a part-time job really doesn't suffice anymore. No. You've got to be in a position where you found a way to make money in your sleep, just to like barely pay your bills. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
I want to pause and touch on the soul that I hear in your music.
Okay.
There's so much of it. It's so deep. It's so robust. I was like, 20 who?
Yes.
I'm putting your business on. This girl, this young woman is 20 years old. And I think about, I'll be 36 on Monday, and I think about, what was I doing at 20? I was still playing with Barbies. I played with Barbies till I was 21. It is what it is.
Wow.
I had them talking to each other and everything. Girl, are you going to the wedding? Like, I did all that. What was I doing at 20? At 2019, I had just entered my first pageant. But I wasn't, like, from a writing perspective, everything that I put on paper at 20, I didn't really believe it. I hadn't lived enough life. As an artist, I questioned if anybody would believe what I was writing, because I was writing from my imagination and not from any kind of life experience. Your music is not that.
Right.
Your music is life experience. Your music is depth and again, soul. Where does it come from? You are so young. Where does it come from?
Well, I found that a very interesting perspective that you brought up, that I feel like my perspective, because of my background, will be a little bit different about it, because I actually feel like you can create genuine music even if it's not from your experiences.
Okay.
I believe you can do that because I grew up in the actual acting field.
Okay.
I was in acting camps ever since I was a baby. What's it called? Agents. I've been in commercials, extras.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to Northwest School of the Arts and was a theater major.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I said before, I write scripts. So for me, if I want to write something that I necessarily didn't go through, it's very quick.
You can go to Shondaland.
I can imagine a character and then boom, I'm her. And I feel everything that she feels, and you know what I'm saying? So I felt like even if I wrote something that wasn't necessarily word for word what I was thinking about in my car, my personal experiences, I feel like I saw people still resonating with that.
I like that. People
would still resonate with stuff that I necessarily didn't, go through verbatim, but they still resonated with it because I like to tap into my empathetic side. Mm-hmm. So I like to think that I can, I don't have to necessarily go through exactly what you went through to relate to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just try to tap into as many people as I can and really be able to express as many emotions even for them. I'm speaking for you. If that makes any sense. You've experienced it. I can relate.
You did a good job.
So
what is the name of that song? Meant
to Last. Meant to Last.
So Meant to Last, I don't know if you lived any of what you wrote, but you wrote it for me, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Meant to Last was an incredibly beautiful song. I thought that the opening, before I even heard the words, and I'm a word person, typically,
right, okay.
But before I even heard the words, I was like, this is a beautiful, beautiful song already. And it was so melodic and so genuine. And what I really genuinely appreciate about your music is the level of maturity. I think that you starting so young is going to be a benefit for you because your music is so mature. And it's just going to continue to be really kind of the whole vibe that my son and I have. My son is my 10-year-old videographer of my show. And so when people see that, they're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that your music will have that level of respect. I certainly have that level of respect for your music.
Thank you. I really do appreciate
Yes, ma'am.
that.
Yes, ma'am.
Especially about that song, Meant to Last, because that one was the one
Meant
I
to
was
Last.
pushing my pocket a little bit. I was.
You went there.
I did. I
You
tried
went
to. And I was very picky about that song. You can ask my managers. I was on the phone with my engineer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like this part. I don't like that part. I want you to change this part. I definitely tried to work on that song. That one is a very tender song for me. That one, I feel like I experience emotions and don't necessarily think about it and map out my emotions about it that clearly, but I put it in my music, if that makes any sense. So I feel like I addressed a lot of my emotions that I had never even addressed personally, So that one speaks to me personally too.
That's what you were supposed to do.
I tried.
And you did a great job with that.
Thank you.
Who are you listening to right now? Who's on your playlist?
Who's on my playlist?
Who do you listen to? Who do you listen to?
Oh my
goodness. Who would you think good enough to listen to?
It really rains.
When we come back, we'll see if we can get inspired by who inspires Je'Dah when we return.
If I never have another night to live, if I never have another breath to give, if I never get to see another day, I can't allow this moment to get away. I've made a lot of tough decisions. Good intentions guided all my years, most of which left me broken. I closed my eyes to hold in the tears. As I walk the remainder of my journey, I know it's best that you're told. I've always wanted you, to love you, to see where it all goes. I might be late in my admission, but I hope my submission is clear. I'm sorry it took me so long to get past my hurt, my thoughts, my fear. Please excuse my selfishness. I apologize for my words of disruption. I know this may be a bit to take in, but I beg you pardon the interruption. You're the one that I wanted to learn. You're the one that I wanted to adore. You're the one that I wanted to admire. You're the one that I wanted to support. I wanted to be the comfort amidst the cries. I want it to be the relax at stressful times. I want it to be the peace that pieces your heart. Anything you need for us to not be apart. Your intelligence, your beauty, your beliefs, your time. Your everything is amazing, and I just wish it was mine.
How do you pronounce the name of your album? Because I know I'm like Thea type.
I think it's a lot more simple than people think.
What is it?
It's just Thea.
Girl, bye. So why you got me feeling stupid? You could have just.
I mean, that's the name. No, I get it a lot. Seriously, I get it a lot. I'm like Thea, and I'm like, we're adding letters, and you know, it's just Thea.
Well, I like it. What does it mean?
Ooh, okay. This is a years-long concept. Even when I first started writing music, actually, Thea it's a theory about the creation of our moon, the Earth's moon.
Okay.
And basically the theory is back right after the Big Bang. So this is before dinosaurs. This is before any living artifact on Earth. This is when the Earth was literally just a ball of fire, which you can see in the back of my cover art.
Yes.
That's supposed to represent the Earth at that time.
Okay.
It had a star that was kind of orbiting in the same orbit as that Earth, and it was like a sub-star of Mars, kind of. So it was just a big ball of rock, which is what I'm supposed to be standing on in the cover. And it ended up just crashing into the Earth, and it was literally the first any type of, what is it called, meteorite that ever hit the Earth at the time. So it literally changed everything about the Earth's surface. So that was pretty much the only reason that plants could grow. Half of that planet Thea ended up lodging into the Earth's surface. The other half ended up spinning back out and becoming the moon that, you know, orbits our sun, orbits our Earth today. So basically, the theory of it being the name of my project is that since it was the first meteorite, this is my first project. So it's supposed to change everything about me, you know, my art, my career, just my perspective. It's my first big event. It's my first big bang. You know, my first big bang. Yeah. So.
I like that it means something. I think that it should. Yes. I've interviewed quite a few people, and I've asked them, what was the name of the first piece you wrote? And they gave me the name or couldn't even remember the name, and it just meant nothing. And I'm like, get off my set. What are you doing? I'm taking it seriously, so why should I? Right. Are you originally from the Faux? Where you from, girl? I know where you from. Where you from? Tell the people where you from.
I'm born and raised Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
My family, all of my blood, literally I was the first person in my very large family to be born in Charlotte. All of them are born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh? Okay.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So it was a lot of trips up to the north. It was a lot of family coming down from the
I heard
north.
it in your music. You said something, you said Bout It. I was like, that was when I asked where you were from. I initially thought 313. Bout It is very Detroit, like we are, like that. I almost would say like we came up with Bout It. Like Detroiters came up with Bout It. So when I heard you say it in one of your songs, I was like, where's she from? And she said Pittsburgh. And I was like, close enough.
Right, yeah. Well, as far as my speech, I get that a lot, especially like if I'm rapping, if I'm saying something aggressive, you know, it comes out seriously because I think the Pittsburgh accent is black and white from Charlotte. So the family that lives here, like from Pittsburgh, when we go up there, they're like, why are you so country? And when we down here, they're like, where are you from? We're from the north. You know, it's very much a mix. So certain words I'll say is like only Pittsburgh people would know, and it's a part of literally my normal speech. Like if I'm talking to anybody, like I'll say something that only somebody from Pittsburgh would know, and then people know like, oh, that's something from Pittsburgh that she says. Like, so it's a good mix.
Which songs on this project will we hear the South on? I think it's your cousin that you have on one of your tracks. His voice, Free Will Management, is very relevant, right? It is very relevant to the times and to what we are listening to. I mean, good job. I thought that was actually a really great feature. Which of your pieces from this project are we going to hear some of that 704?
704. Well, the three bands, actually, the concept of it was supposed to be kind of like where I actually grew up. Okay. That's the concept behind the video that's supposed to be coming out soon.
When's it come out?
Within the week, we're supposed to be getting the video back today or tomorrow actually. So we're supposed to be hearing back from that soon. You know, I'm gonna do my edits, make sure it's good.
If you get your video back within the next 48 hours, I can plug it as one of the commercials for this episode.
Okay.
It has to be back to me within the next 48 hours.
Okay, we'll definitely get on that.
I would love to have one. I was going to ask you if you had any content that you wanted to use, but if you've got a hot off the press video, run MsMedia that video.
Right.
Give me that video.
Period.
Run me
I'm
that.
gonna make sure it's good though. So
Don't send me no trash.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Like
no, but you know what? Your music, I doubt. I don't know how you could produce a crap video on top of great music, so I'm sure it'll be great.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
that's the plan, definitely, because we got a lot of shots in there. We really try to dive.
Where'd you shoot it at? What part of Charlotte? Mom's a word.
All my OG places, okay? These places was places that I was in
Did you hit some Hidden Valley? Now, if I see some Hidden Valley in the video, sis, I'm gonna know you really went in your bag for that.
That's something. That's something else. Okay, that's something else. That might be in something else. That's a little sweet.
Who inspires you? When I listen to Jasmine Sullivan's Hotels, when I listen to Lost One, I hear nobody but Stevie Wonder. I mean, it's Stevie Wonder all up and through. Who inspires you?
Oh my goodness. Who inspires me? See, my music taste also ranges so much.
It should.
It ranges so much.
It's supposed to.
Who inspires me? Definitely Frank Ocean. That's one of my biggest inspirations. Definitely, I love his music artistically. Definitely J. Cole. Love him and his word pen. Definitely Nicki. You know, very inspirational.
Nicki Minaj. I thought about Nicki when I was listening to you this morning and thought that I liked you more than her. I thought about Megan Thee Stallion when I was listening to you this morning. And the reason that I thought about Megan was because I was comparing, trying to think of which songs of hers I liked that were just her songs. And most of the songs that I like of Megan's, she's a feature. Cry Baby, I could really do without her. As long as I got Baby on that, I'm good. And then I did really like her verses in WAP. But those are just two songs.
Well, Megan, I think when I was in my Megan bag was definitely her mixtape days. What is it got? A Hottie from Texas.
I know that one.
What's the? Oh, I can hear the hook. I can't remember her old stuff. Man, we was playing that on the way to spring break for real. That like we loved Megan. When she was first coming up, definitely. And Nicki, the way she inspires me more is instead of the sound melodically, she more inspires me lyrically. She's more, her pen is more what inspires me, and just who she is as a female rapper. Like the way she moves in the industry is really inspirational. I don't think you could be a female rapper and not be inspired by Nicki.
I agree with that. Even if you don't like her as a human being, like if you don't like her wigs or her butt, you still gotta respect the music.
Right, and just you have to respect how much people respect her.
I agree.
Because especially what time she was coming in, it was very easy for her to be brushed away and very much not respected in the music industry. But she definitely carved her own little area in there. And with the top people, Drake and Lil Wayne backing her up. They're probably the biggest Nicki fans, at that time. So having that platform, having that respect is inspirational. Just being a woman and just, seeing somebody up there. She walks so we can run,
I like that. I will say, I want to just challenge people as a go forward. I don't know if I really think that a singer, rapper, artist could really call themselves a full-on artist if they're not writing their own music. If you've got a ghostwriter, MsMedia wants you to know you ain't but so much of an artist. Sorry, not sorry. The real true form of artistry, the real work is writing the song.
Right.
That's the real work. Is it going to be a beginning, middle, and an end? Is it going, like that's the real work. So if you've got someone else writing your music, then really you're just an entertainer.
Period.
Are there any stigmas in the industry that you're looking to break?
Stigmas? Definitely the idea of female rap topics. That's one thing that I'm never going to entertain. I already know. I never entertained even before I ever even thought I was going to be on Apple Music. Even when I was sitting in my house listening to a beat, I was not entertaining those topics. Okay?
You definitely up and talk to these people.
That was not me, because it's just, you would be surprised how many people really expect that out of me. Like, really are asking me to do that. Like,
really?
Yeah.
So they want more WAP out of you?
Man, I don't know what. I can't write that. Like, I couldn't take myself serious. Like, I really just couldn't take myself serious.
Yeah.
You know, my little sister is my biggest fan. She knows all my words. You know, I already be keen on the curse words as is. So let's keep the topics at least not crazy. You know, I just wouldn't be able to take myself serious. My dad loves my music. He's playing my music on his rides out of town and all of that. I just couldn't take myself serious. I have too many men in my family. I have a lot of men in my family, very close to me.
Yeah.
All of I grew up with my cousins who are pretty much like brothers.
Okay.
Who was actually on the Chopper Talk. He's more like my brother, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up every day in Hidden Valley. In
So
the
it's
same
only
house.
so far you can take certain topics.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
couldn't take myself serious. Before
Yeah.
no, I couldn't. No, never.
So where can we stream your album?
On all platforms.
Talk that talk.
On all
talk
platforms,
talk that you
period.
need to
Not
talk
playing
to
with
these
y'all.
people. Where can they get the music
On
at?
all platforms.
All platforms.
All platforms. Period. Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all that.
What are you working on next?
Mm.
Because true artists are never just working on one project simultaneously. It doesn't work that way. What are you
No.
working on next?
Well, like I said before about Fia, about it being a collective of a long time. You know, I think it's been interesting watching me evolve as an artist.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was just in my cousin's studio, I was just in my friend's studio, so I was recording maybe one song a month, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just picking the best song that I thought was like, oh, this is gonna be the hard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I have options now, you know,
Wow.
I am scheduled to be at the studio at this time, this and the third. So I can just play in whatever bags that I want to, as far as I want to go artistically, and you know, I really don't know what's next. You know, I'm surprising myself. Seriously. That's all I'm gonna say is I'm surprising myself.
You and I are walking the same. I'm surprising myself right now.
That's good. I thought we always should be.
I can really appreciate that from you. I appreciate you coming on my show today. I did
appreciate you
not
having me.
expect you, if I can be honest, to have such a robust extrovert personality. Again, your music is so raw and so real. I thought you were gonna come in here, you know, and just be a little bit more of an inclusive type, you know, more of a recluse type of person, but you were incredibly open. And you've got really pretty edges, and I appreciate
Thank you.
really pretty edges.
Thank you.
You are welcome back here on MsMedia's platform anytime you'd
Oh, I
like.
would love to be back. I had so much fun. Thank you.
And as long as I can wear a mask, let me know what you've got going on, and I'd like to pull up and support you. I think that you've got a really long career ahead of you, and I want to be one of the people that is at the grassroots of it.
Yes, dude, you definitely are. This is just the beginning.
Thank
so,
you.
Yes,
Thank
period.
you.
We would stay in touch. Period. I've had so much fun. Thank you.
Don't make me chase you now.
Well, I'm gonna start doing your
Don't make me
lashes
chase-
now.
So I'm gonna have your cell phone number.
Right, yeah,
There we
no,
go.
Yeah.
More to come when we come back. I am joined on stage by Free Will Management, and he is the management for Je'Dah Don. I am so excited and appreciative that you came in studio to take care of your artists. First of all, you better pay attention and see what she got going on. Go see about your artists and keep your eyes on your artists.
You know, one of the things that I'm real big about is information, and information that people can grab and content. You know, people can go and view it, share it, like it, things like that.
Yep.
So first of all, Je'Dah Don. Je'Dah Don is how you say her
Don.
name. And she's
Je'Dah
on
Don.
Instagram, Twitter, not on Facebook, but Snapchat,
Snapchat. We got YouTube?
YouTube.
Dang,
Yep.
okay.
And what we have next, she just did a song like 2 days ago.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What's it called? Can you tell us?
Better, huh?
It's undecided right now. To be
Okay,
honest.
but
It's undecided, okay. What's the vibe of
Good
the
album.
song?
Became
it's-
nothing. Became nothing.
Became nothing.
Okay.
It's more of that talking of shit type shit.
Okay.
You know, very very nice beat to it.
Yeah.
Very entertaining song too.
Mm-hmm.
But she got a lot to talk about. But that's the first of probably the next EP.
Okay.
We have not created a name for the EP yet,
Okay.
but it's going to be at least probably in the next 2 weeks. It'll be up.
Really?
But, yeah.
When did you put out Thea Tape?
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and we actually have over right now. I was just showing her dad. We actually have over 35 100 streams for a new artist that nobody really is, you know, everybody's starting to understand who she is and get to her, but that is encouraging for a new artist. That is huge for a new artist. And, you know, over 3,500 streams across the world. Across the, you know, and those are only two platforms. We're only talking about Apple and Spotify, because those are only two that actually generate those numbers.
You just put this album out
2 weeks ago.
Crazy.
2 weeks ago. So what you're saying, I've been getting a lot of feedback. So you're right on point as far as what you're saying about her. So we very encouraging. Keep supporting. It's only a matter of time. And we always remember things like this because we're going to take you with us.
You can't not.
And
Your wife
come
does
back.
my makeup, okay? Let's put the business out there. His wife has been beating me all the season. She beat me up first season as well. Drops what she's doing to be there for me, and I really appreciate it. And so when she put the music on, I respected it because she pressed play. And then I kept listening because the artists did their job and drew me in.
That's what we love to hear. Makeup looks great, by the way. But what I would like for everybody to do is definitely download, share, follow, and continue to stay tapped in because we have so much more that we have coming. We got things that we want to do for the summer. There's a few things that we have coming up. You know, we'll just stay tuned. Follow her page.
I'm supposed to be in Europe. We were going to go in April, but we're talking about pushing that back to June. And by talking about, my mother told me, push my trip back. With there being new strains of COVID, it just didn't seem like something I could even argue with her about. But I am heading to Europe sometime this year, in the next few months. And the intention of my going was the end of my season trip. I am taking an artist along with me. Her name is Pretty Fine. She's incredibly talented. She was my second guest on my first season, and she's blowing up. She's got crazy international, she's got really, really great international reach. I was working on securing her, actually I've already secured her a performance in Paris for when we go. Maybe you and I can have a conversation. I don't know what she'll have going on around June. But if we're going to make it a movie, let's make it a movie, right? And so I'll circle back with you and see what Queen J has going on, if you're okay with that.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And one of the things that you talked about as far as like just that worldly thing, people don't understand a lot of this music nowadays with streaming and listeners is just not home. You know what I'm saying? If you have good music and you have quality music, it's going to travel, no matter what.
Are you guys on Clubhouse?
Yes, we are. We are on Clubhouse too. I'm not as active on Clubhouse, but I guess I'll start to get that way. But a lot of people are, you know, it's
a good tool.
popping. Yeah.
It's a tool that I would say, you know, if you've got more than one cell phone, put one phone on Clubhouse, walk away, you know, do your laundry.
Yeah.
Because while you're in the app, people see you and they're going through and they're scrolling through, and so you're gaining followers and attention without you even necessarily being active.
Oh, okay.
So there's different ways to play with it. We'll talk about it. Before I kick you off my stage today with this nice coat you got on, let all of our viewers know. Your wife bought it for you? I like your wife as a human being.
Yeah.
I've worked with her for years. We worked together back when we were working at a light turn, Aeon turn, all the people that they turned. But she's really good people. So
yeah. Love her.
Glad to have you guys in the fold. Let all of my viewers know finally what it is that you guys will be working on in the next month. What are you doing locally? What do you got going on in Charlotte? Can I pull up to anything locally?
I got a few things that I'm working on. She doesn't necessarily know the things that management is always working on. I'm always working on something. But stay tuned for the 3 bands video. I'm also working on some charity things. So her name has to get out there and give back to the community. That's the only way that those people are going to support, especially the ones that. Okay, you're giving music. Okay, you're from Charlotte, but what are you doing? What have you done, or what are you doing to help the communities out? The communities that raise you, the communities that,
100%,
whether you like it or not, helped your career. I feel like any artist, if you're from that area, you should probably start doing some type of community work, some type of. So we got that in store. I said watch out for the 3 bands video.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so watch out for the 3 bands video. We're also going to do another video off of Thea Tape, which is 1 by 1. So look out for that. As well, she's in the studio and working on her next EP. It's probably going to only be about 3 or 4 songs on it. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, 2 of them are already done, and we'll keep giving some music, and you'll start to see her on different platforms, on social media, things like that.
I know we'll see her on a bigger scale because she said that she's written screenplays, and that you know. That hits so tough for me. There's a different level of artistry that goes into doing that.
I actually think once she get on, once she gets on, I don't think the music is going to be.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Anymore.
I'm not,
I'm not
I feel
like she's going to hit me at some point, like, hey, I'm going over here. And I respect that because, do what you're passionate. And I always talk to her about being yourself, being who you are. You know what I mean? We know that you don't have the ass and the titties and the hair and all that. We know that. We know that. But as long as you are making quality music and the way you're making it, we're gonna keep busting everybody's ass.
We keep on wanting quality music. Megan Thee Stallion is great, but I don't think it's all quality. She got ass in here for days. Thank you so much for coming up here and speaking with me today.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. More when we come back.
MsMedia, brought to you by Bandwagon Radio and the On Channel, where entertainment news, current events, and much more is corresponded for the masses. Not only can you hear her, you can watch this beauty weekly on Mondays with MsMedia.
On stage by this week's surprise guest. It was everything. It was so hard to not tell you guys who this guest was. This is my father. This is my dad, Dukes. Welcome, Dad Dukes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here. So, first off, what does your artistic resume look like, Papa? What is it like? Like, give me everything.
Well, artistic resume. Mm-hmm. I am currently working on a project that I've been working on for many years. Okay. And I'm waiting for I've just revamped my entire studio so that now I can do everything in the box. Artists that are here know what that means. But I've completely gotten rid of all my gear so I can do everything in the box. And it is an exciting time for me to do so. So my music resume, I was a singer in church.
Talk on it.
I was the one that, the pastor used to carry around, and I had my little song that he,
You had your same song you sang every week? Wasn't it?
But
My mind is made. Was it that one?
No, it was He's Worthy. Yeah. So when he'd go and preach, I was his singer, But it was good. Mm-hmm. And then I was focusing more on my preaching ministry. Yep. And it wasn't so much about the music then, even though I knew I had a ministry to do music.
So with your artistic resume being as long as it is, before we go there, when I was in 5th grade, I wrote my first poem and I won 2nd place and Dad supported it. And then later on, I wanted to be Miss Michigan USA, didn't win. But I was Miss Motor City USA 2005, and Dad actually was the one who took me to buy my dress and my shoes for it, because during that phase in life was when Mom was battling, getting over Crohn's. And so Dad was supportive with that. I wrote my first book and published it in 2011, and I think my dad was the first person that read it. Didn't give honest feedback because I did a lot of cursing in it, and so he didn't want to be too honest with me, but told me what I did good and what I could have worked on artistically in the piece. I could go on and on if I wanted to give some sort of a credit or a thank you or, I really could. When I think about who taught me how to be a woman and who taught me how to stand up for myself and who taught me how to fight and who taught me how to defend my younger brother and just the everyday things that you've taught me. I appreciate that. But more specifically, and you didn't even know this, I'm not going to get emotional because we still have pictures to take, and that is what I'm here for. I am here for the pictures. You said to me not even a month ago that if you were me, that you would jump and you would run into exactly what it is I'm supposed to be doing with my life right now. You gave me an okay, I think, that I needed, and you didn't even know that I needed it. So I guess what I'm saying is thank you for always being supportive. Who were you raised by?
My mother. And you're just like me, so you can't help yourself. I was raised by my mother, and my mother wanted to be a model, and she loved taking pictures, and you get a lot of your creative juices, you get your ham part from her. You get like it being in front of the camera from her.
Yeah.
You probably get more of your artistic stuff from me,
Yeah.
musicality, writing,
Yeah.
because we're both writers.
Yeah.
And so my mother wanted me to be a model, years back, and got me a portfolio, and got into a lot of pictures. It was never my thing. I always back then I was into sports.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be a musician or a singer or songwriter.
Why were you into sports? Don't try to skip over it
Girls.
now.
Girls were going to, I loved baseball, but girls were going to the track meets and the football games. So I switched from baseball to track, football, wherever the girls were. That's where I wanted
That's
to
where
be.
you was at.
That's right.
Okay. So, Grandma was supportive. Emma Celeste Mosé. When you think about her level of support, do you think that it has anything to do with how far you've gotten as an artist?
I don't think my mother really knew about the music. My mother didn't really know about the musical side of me as much as I would have liked.
Okay.
I lost my mother in 2009, so a lot of the music part of me she didn't get to really experience or hear. My mother loved anything Hollywood, anything musical. My musical taste come from my mother.
Okay.
A lot of music was played in the house. So I grew up listening to Bobby Womack, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Prince I discovered on my own. And then as I ventured off into Christendom, I learned more about the Christian side of music, and finally learned that music all comes from Christian music.
Speak on it.
A lot of the stuff we hear now, even the rap, comes from the cadences of preachers in the pulpit. So all that stuff comes from church.
You better.
You can try to flip it as much as you want.
Yeah.
But all music, all American music comes from black music.
Right.
And all black music comes from something someone heard or played in church. And that's
it just is what it is, on period.
That's the real tip.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What was childhood like for you?
Childhood for me was, I grew up in Northview Heights. I left Northview Heights when I was about 7 years old. Okay. My mother did a lot of traveling, so I've traveled all over this country. I've lived on every coast in this country.
Wow.
By the time I was in high school, I probably had gone through maybe 11 or 12 different schools.
Oh my goodness.
So we traveled a lot.
Yeah.
My mother we found ourselves in the government witness protection program. That's a long story, but you can imagine why that is. And so that took us to Arizona, and then back to the east in the Midwest. Okay. So between Pittsburgh and Detroit is where I would call my homes. I was born in Pittsburgh, raised in Detroit. That's what I like to tell people.
What is your musical name?
DeBurgh.
DeBurgh.
Because I was born in Pittsburgh, raised in Detroit.
Yeah.
So I combine those two names, and musically I get a lot of inspiration from both of those cities.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
I can hear that. At what age did you enter into the service? First off, thank you for being a hero and being the first hero that I've ever known. What age were you when you entered into the Army?
18 years old.
Crazy. You know what I was doing at 18?
High school.
What was I doing at 18? Like I didn't even have
a kid.
I didn't even have my license yet.
Yeah.
I don't think I got my license until I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you and Mom met in the Army.
We did.
What line did you give Mom at first meeting?
I saw your mother. I was 18 years old when I met your mother.
Okay.
And I looked over and I saw your mother.
Mm-hmm.
I was 19 when I met your mother. I just turned 19. And she had the prettiest brown eyes.
Still
I mean,
does.
that's the thing that I noticed. You
Her
know,
eyes.
you notice features on a woman that you like. You're a leg guy or whatever you into.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the eyes for me. You know, I saw these beautiful brown eyes, and I saw her sitting over there, and she didn't look so happy. I don't know why I said this, but I told her, I said, "You're not gonna like it here. All we do is clean." And so, in fact, I was cleaning something when I met her, and so she rolled her eyes at me. She's been rolling her eyes at me now for, it'll be 37 years, and she's still rolling them.
Yeah.
They didn't scare me then, and they don't scare me now.
They're too pretty.
But, you know, I fell in love with her then. I met her in February, and I married her in March.
Wow.
And I realized that I did not want to, I wasn't a Christian at that point, but I knew that this was a God thing. I knew that God was somehow in this.
Yeah.
I don't know how I knew, but I knew. And I knew I wasn't supposed to spend my life without that woman.
I can respect that
And so-
because I was watching Wendy Williams's special,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you've seen it yet, but there was a part where her husband, they tried to have a baby, or I don't even know if they were trying. They had gotten pregnant and had a miscarriage, and then Kevin came to her and said, "Hey, we've got to get married because God's going to bless us if we get married." And I never heard him claim Christianity as
Right.
well. So it
Right.
is interesting that, you know, the Holy Spirit can speak to you and tell you
Sure.
to do something without you even being within that direct
I
walk.
wasn't what we would classify today in Christendom as a born-again Christian yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't know those things, but I did know that I didn't want to spend my life without that woman. So I wanted to make sure that I made that woman part of my life. And I knew that once we left from that place where we learned our job, she could end up in Korea and I could be in Germany, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So by marrying her, the Army had to keep us 50 miles within reach of each other.
Yeah.
So I knew that she would stay in my life.
Yeah.
So I asked her to marry me on March 16th, the day before, on her birthday, and then we got married the week later. And it'll be 37 years together that we've been together next month, and it's you know, my greatest achievement was marrying that woman.
You will not get my tears. Stop! You will not.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this. When you guys first met, who pressed who more? Like who was stalking who more? When we come back, we'll talk to DeBurgh and find out more about his life when we come back.
Cool.
MsMedia, brought to you by Bandwagon Radio and the On Channel, where entertainment news, current events, and much more is corresponded for the masses. Not only can you hear her, you can watch this beauty weekly on Mondays with MsMedia.
Papa, at what age did you start lead pastoring your first church?
I was, I'm gonna think pushing 30, maybe 30.
So at 30, you were married, had 2 children, and was about to start pastoring a church full time.
Right.
What part of Michigan was that church located in?
Detroit.
D-Town.
D-Town.
D-Town. What was the name of that church?
Southwest Detroit. Detroit Open Door Outreach in Southwest Detroit.
What memories from that church do you hold closest to your heart?
Ooh. I was just really starting to create music then too, but in Southwest Detroit, it was the poorest area of Detroit at the time. It had the highest literacy problems too.
Yeah.
People not being able to read and write was a big problem in that part of Detroit.
Mhm.
So we worked to help people with that, and we
Right.
worked to feed people, and we worked to just lift them up as
Yeah.
people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
for them to know that they are somebody and that they matter. They matter to God and they matter to us. That was one of the greatest passions of my life, pastoring that church.
This is off topic and not written on my card. That particular church, my dad had to do quite a lot of gutting, both externally and internally, to make it aesthetically pleasing and really healthy and safe for people to come into the building. And it was really an open space. It used to be a roller skating rink, right?
Right.
It was an open space. I was 15 years old. I remember this. This is what it looks like to show your children what faith is, okay? 20 years ago, I recall, actually at this point, 21 years ago, I recall my dad was hiring contractors and even using his own two hands to put up the beams. You know, when you walk into a building, you don't think about how the walls go up, right? There are beams that go in between walls, and then you put the cement over top of the beams, and that's how the walls go up. Our church didn't have any walls. You walked in and it was an open space. The only walls were in the men and women's restrooms. And so my father spent time and money out of his own pocket and money that he got from other people who wanted to support our ministry. My dad knew how to find some money. My dad knew how to find some money to keep that church afloat. And I remember my dad yelling at people and saying, "Stop walking through my walls." We didn't see what was happening, but he saw it, right? Once the beams went up, there were these beams that your body could fit through. If you didn't feel like walking all the way around the beam to get to the sanctuary, you would just walk straight through the beam, and it didn't matter who you were. My dad said, "Do not walk through my walls." And that taught me how to appreciate what God is doing for me even when I can't see it.
Right.
To trust the fact that it's happening, and to show the respect to God that I trust the fact that it's happening, to not allow other people to swamp all over my walls.
Respect my vision.
Respect my vision.
Yes.
Don't walk all through my
Because
walls.
we got walls. We all got walls.
We all got walls.
And you know, I heard it in your previous guests, and the guests and the management, I can hear their vision. You know?
Yeah.
And they don't want anyone to walk through their walls.
Don't walk through their walls.
Or you might not see drywall there, I see it there. Okay, so respect my walls. Even though you can walk through that, don't walk through that until I put some drywall up, then you come through the door like you're supposed to. So it was a wonderful vision.
Yeah.
We finally got those walls put up in that building,
Yeah.
and got that building looking like a church.
Yeah.
And it built the community's faith. It built
did.
our faith.
Yep.
To know that God can put walls where there are none. And right now, where you don't have walls in your life, or have walls in your business, or walls in your relationships, you're building that.
Right.
And don't you let anyone stop you from what you see.
Yeah.
You see what God has given you. Other people might not be able to see it, but if you have a few people, all it takes is a few.
Right.
If you have a few people who can see walls going up, you stay the course.
Stay the course.
Those walls are going up eventually.
I think this is a great place for once and for all this to just be put to rest. Between myself and my brother, who's your favorite child? Just say
I
it.
knew you were going to ask.
Get it out there. I'm sick of it.
The favorite knows who the favorite
Oh,
is.
come on, Dad. Step up. Say it with your
I can't
chest.
say the favorite knows who the
Say
favorite
it with your
is.
chest. You know what? I think that I'm my dad's favorite only in the regard of, like, he respects my work ethic. I think my mom sees my brother as her favorite in the regard of, like, it's her son. Like, it's her baby boy. Outside of that, I would probably say y'all might love us the same. I guess y'all might rock with us the same.
Well, you're just like me. Your artistic part is just like me. Our personalities are the same. That's why we avoid arguing with each other, because we're just alike. And it looks like World War III when the two of us have a fight, because it's two of the same person going in. Okay, and this is me.
I didn't know I was scared.
She's just like her father.
Until I saw the fear on your face one time.
Oh God, she's just like me.
Yeah,
It's
we were
crazy.
in a disagreement, and I saw you back off, and I was like, oh, well then I need to take the same energy in these romantic relationships I'm doing. Who's your favorite writer, Dad? You know Langston Hughes is mine. Who's yours?
Oh, you talking about writer of book?
Writer.
Of,
you know you like Pablo. You put me on Pablo Neruda back in the day.
You know, you talking about book writer?
Writer.
Or you talking about lyricist?
Writer.
I'm gonna say Baldwin.
Okay.
In Maya Angelou.
Okay.
Yeah.
Respect.
If we're talking lyricist, man, you haven't seen lyrics unless you
Who?
looked at Sting's stuff, man. I don't know if any of you ever heard of Sting, but Sting from the Police. But
Yeah.
Sting could put some really deep stuff and make it melodically work.
Yeah.
And I could never understand how he could do that.
Yeah.
But lyrically, I like him. I've always liked Prince.
Yeah.
Also, he could do that, and he could take a deep subject and make it work melodically. And that's always a challenge for an artist, to make those words work musically and make them flow within the context of a song can be a challenge. And sometimes you've got to taper it back a little bit. Okay, I know this is what I want to put in the song, but I got to make this work musically too, so that I also get out what I'm trying to say to the listener, but it also has to work in the framework of a song.
Right.
And I'm always blessed when I hear artists who are able to do that today. And I want to see more artists write music.
What I say.
I want to hear. I love hip hop. Hip hop came up when hip hop come up in my generation.
Yep.
Y'all ain't got the, hip hop.
We didn't invent it.
No, you didn't
Yeah.
invent hip hop.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see the musicality leave hip hop. I want to see the musicality stay within hip hop. I want to hear a bass line sometimes.
He said what he said.
I want to hear drums in the music. I want to hear keys. I want to hear a chord every now and then. Make the sound thick and full so I can hear it on both sides. You know what I mean? Pan it right. I stay in the studio. That's where I live.
Yeah.
And if I don't know why God hadn't blessed me with an engineer yet, but because artists know you can spend so much time engineering stuff. It's like, oh my God, and it becomes consuming musically to your music.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but there's a reason I'm in there.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning to produce that music myself, and I know how to take a project. You can send me alone in the studio, and I'll come out with a song.
Right.
Don't need somebody to write it.
No.
Don't need somebody to play the music. I'll
Yeah.
do that too.
Yeah.
I'm doing the singing. I'm doing the background.
You bet
I
to
do the whole
talk.
thing.
The talk.
And it's a wonderful experience because you learn that way everything it takes to make a song. So now, when you become the big cheese, you're able to bring artists in, and you're able to know what it takes to lay that background down, know what level to record it at,
Yeah.
know how to pan it, know how to EQ it, know what effects to put on everything. And so that has been the blessing of what I'm doing. That's why I'm so excited about my new studio. Oh my God, there's nothing I can't do now with this studio. It's like I'm like a kid in a candy store that I've got all this stuff now that I can make that music sound top and first rate. Some of the music I produced, you would never know I did that stuff
I
on
know.
a 4-track, and then I bounced it over to an 8,
Yeah.
and then I bounced it over to Pro Tools.
Yeah.
But the original music was laid down on a 4-track, and all I did was sweeten the sound
Yeah.
when I got it into the Pro Tools. You know what I mean? But I learned, because I started with a 4-track, and now I can record 128 tracks simultaneously. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But artists know why I'm so excited. Because when you get a chance to create, and one of the things that hindered, there were 2 things that kept my music from being music. One, God told me to preach right now.
Right. Yeah.
So even my music, I'm still a preacher.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
So, but I don't want my music to be seen as, I'm not a gospel artist. I'm
Right.
a Christian artist.
Speak it.
So I don't tell people, okay, I'm a gospel singer, because once I tell you that, you think there's going to be a whole lot of moaning going on in my music. I don't do no moaning. I ain't sad, number 1. Number 2, I want my music to be something you can bounce to when you ride down the street in your car.
Right.
I want you to be able to bounce to it, enjoy it, have a good time. I want it to minister to you, but I want you to have fun with it too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Christian music should be fun because Christians are fun.
That part.
You feel me?
Who's your favorite musician?
Musician
Because
or artist?
Musician. You exposed me to musicianship.
Right.
I
I have to say Prince.
Yeah.
Prince was,
Yeah.
and I think he inspired me to be that guy you could just cut loose in the studio,
Yeah.
sit him in there alone, and he'll come out with a project.
Yeah.
I was inspired that way.
Okay.
My favorite artist is Michael.
Really?
Michael Jackson's
Wow.
the greatest artist I've ever seen.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
He could do it all. He could write, sing, do
Entertain.
his own background,
Yeah.
entertain.
Yeah.
Um,
Gave good interviews.
He wasn't the producer Prince is, because you could send Prince inside a studio and Prince would come out alone with a project by himself if he had to.
Right, right.
And so I was inspired by that. But my greatest vocal inspiration would be Al Jarreau.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite artists, Prince, Michael, Al, they're all gone. It hurts my heart. All my guys are gone. The new artists that I like today in terms of artistry would be Bruno Mars.
Okay.
I love the sound quality of his music.
Yeah.
If you listen to Bruno stuff, it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
listen to the drums on that
Yeah.
thing. Listen how you can hear everything. It sounds right. It all works.
Yeah.
It sounds as though the cat goes in on one song and he might sit there 6 months till he get it right. And I love that. I love hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think an artist should take time with their music and put their soul into it.
Yeah.
You know, get the beat right,
Yeah.
get everything else that goes in it right.
Yeah.
And don't you let that thing go to print until you like it. Because that's you
That's
that
your
you're putting out there.
That's you
right?
that you're putting out there, yeah.
And you want to make sure that it's right. So, Stevie, you know, I like a lot of rock too. I grew up on John Lennon,
Mm-hmm.
the Police.
You put me on the
Sting.
Police, yeah. Police is tough.
I mean, I like it all. The only music I don't like is bad music. Okay?
Basically,
I
yeah.
mean, really.
Yeah.
I've heard a country song. I was like, oh, that's popping. You know.
Yeah.
If it's good, I like it. If it moves me, if it stirs my soul, if it moves my ear, you know, I think real musicians should like all music. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should call yourself an artist, but there's not something from another genre that don't move you.
Yeah.
You ain't an artist.
I agree with that.
You stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, how can you learn if you're not listening to other stuff?
Right.
I got some classical popping in the car right now.
Yeah.
You know, and right now, if you go in my car, I got some classical. I got Marvin Gaye. I got Christ.
You know you got Michael Jackson. Why you ain't
I
started
got
there?
Michael Jackson.
He keep Michael
I got
Jackson in
reggae.
the car like it just came out. Like Butterflies just dropped like 2 weeks ago.
I got rock in there. I got
Yeah.
I got pretty much every genre of music. I listen to it all because I'm learning from it.
Mm-hmm.
I learn more from listening than I do from writing. You know.
Yeah.
And I think that's how real artists learn. And I learn from listening to what they're doing. I like sitting between the speakers to hear what the producer's doing. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And to hear how all that's coming together. It's like, oh, how did he get that to sound like that?
Is engineering something you do because you have to, but not one of
Oh
your
yeah,
favorites?
it's not my favorite thing
Okay.
to do. I like the producing part.
Okay.
Even if I had an engineer, I'm probably standing over him.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know what it's supposed to sound like now.
Yeah.
Because I've done it.
Right.
And I know what it looks. I know what you're touching there. You know, I know what that button does.
Right.
I know what that filter does.
Yeah, yeah.
I know what that EQ does. I know what all that does because I've done it.
Right.
So I appreciate what the engineer does. I would love to have an engineer on call, so when I get inspired, I say, okay, dude, plug everything up, turn it on. I don't want to have to touch it until
Okay.
it's time to mix it. You know?
Yeah, okay.
It does get to be a little tedious at
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
but it's taught me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned from the 4-track to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And every artist understands that. Despise not small beginnings, the Bible says. So you might start small, but the next thing you know, you got a label. You have your own studio. You got artists working for you now. And you're calling the shots now because you've learned it from this part up all the way, you know. And right now in this part of my life in ministry, God has given me the opportunity to say, now you're not pastoring a big church or
Right.
people anymore. I want you to concentrate on your music. And for a while I thought, well, maybe I'm too old to do that. Maybe it's too late. And my daughter's been staying on me. You're not too old. You're not too late. Have you listened to that stuff? And I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by what you do and inspired by young artists that you show me that are doing great things in their lives. And I'm going to continue to release this music, and it's going to bless people.
Yeah.
It's going to sell. And I'm going to do great things. I'm excited about where God's going to take me with it, to be honest with you.
How can you not be?
Yeah.
Most people might not know this, but both of the intros that I have for season 2 are songs that my father wrote years ago. So the first intro that I have for season 2, Mondays with MsMedia. That's over top of a song called Far Away From You. Far Away From You is my favorite song that you've ever written, but you
Really?
already knew. I had actually written the question.
I figured it was that.
The question was, what do you think my favorite song is of yours? But I thought you would have already known.
I figured it.
I've always really appreciated that song. And then secondly, we have a second version of my intro, and that is done to a song called Rapture. Rapture was written specifically for me by my dad for my high school graduation way back in 2003. God knew in 2003 when I was having all my friends over to celebrate me finishing my private school education, and when my dad spent all those hours shaking the house in the basement working on this song. I mean, he made me listen to the song 8 times. Zay, come listen to this. And at one point I was like, Dad, the song is done. I don't want to hear the song again until the day of the graduation party. He put so much time and effort into that song. It was it's really sweet. It was like a really sweet.
That beat still pops too.
The beat slaps. The beat slaps. But full circle, talking about it full circle, these are two pieces that were written, before MsMedia was birthed, before I knew I wanted to be in media. Those songs were there.
And good music's timeless, right? Right?
You can pull up.
I can put Butterflies in right now. Tell me you won't move.
Y'all,
Tell me
my
that
dad
beat don't
here for
still pop.
Butterflies. What did I just tell you?
So,
it's in the
so
car.
good music, and that's what I'm trying to accomplish. That's what I pray about.
I was just gonna
That I
ask you
can
what
that music, when you put it in 20 years from now, it'll still pop.
what do you hope to convey with your music?
I want Christians and searching Christians to be able to sit there and listen to it and enjoy it at the same time. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be overtly religious to where you're uncomfortable about what it's saying, but I do want you to be moved by what it's saying. I want you to be inspired and say, oh, maybe there is a God.
Wow.
Maybe this God isn't this burdensome old gray-haired white guy sitting in heaven pointing a finger at me trying to tell me that I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get that from our music. I want you to be inspired by who God is in the universe and what he's done for you, what he's meant to you. Anybody who has lived long enough has to acknowledge that if they really think about it, there are things about their life they can't explain how that good thing happened to them. You know what I mean? Because God helped you. And even when you weren't thinking about God, he helped you. He opened the door for you.
Right.
He gave you an idea, gave you a gift, inspired you somehow, And I want everyone in the room to be able to listen to my music and enjoy it from a lot of different levels. That's how I make the music. That's how I make the beat. That's how the message is conveyed. I don't want to be pigeonholed into a corner.
Right.
This is a gospel. I ain't Marvin Sapp.
I knew you was gonna give a name. Stupid.
I love Marvin Sapp. I dig him. But I ain't Fred Hammond.
That ain't us.
That ain't me.
Right.
But when you listen to my stuff, I want you to enjoy it, but I don't want you to pigeonhole me.
Right.
I like to be able to come. I want to be invited to your party.
Yeah.
I might not do some of the things you might do at your party, but you can have a good time in my presence without feeling like, Brother Mose coming here to point his finger at how I'm living and how I'm getting down.
Yeah.
I don't roll like that. That's not the circles I travel in. You know what I mean? My people who love me are believers, non-believers, and they'll tell you that Mr. Mose is a pretty cool dude, and he doesn't point the finger at how I live my life. He just loves on me, and that's how I want my music to come across too.
You are conveying that, and if we need any kind of if we need anybody to support that, I'll support it. Y'all see my social media. Every other page, I'm comfortable being pseudo-naked to some degree. And my dad doesn't wag his finger at me. He doesn't take me to the side and question my spirituality. It's always been your relationship with God, first of all, is your relationship with God, right? So I appreciate that. And I think whatever it is you're trying to convey in your music, you're doing it because I respected it enough to not take one but two songs and attach them to what matters most to me outside of my son. You see how much this matters to me. So I'm incredibly grateful to you that you thought what I had going on was deserving enough to even use your music. I really do appreciate it.
And my voice. That's my voiceover,
He
guys.
did the voiceover.
And I had a good time doing that.
I couldn't imagine having the song in a different voice or
Yeah.
voiceover. That would have been
awesome. I've never done a voiceover before.
It was uncomfortable how sexy you did. It was uncomfortable for me. That was irritating. But once and for all, hopefully now that you guys see
Because
my
the stork
dad
brought you, right?
sitting here next to me, every time I go somewhere with him, I leave with no phone numbers. Phone be dry because somebody think this is my man. This is not my man. This is my fine daddy who has supported.
She blocks too. So if we're together, they think she's my woman. She blocks too.
Because I'll say, hey, did mom need toothpaste? Like, I'll find a reason to bring up mom.
Right. Yeah, you flatter me. Thank you for that.
Thank you for you, and thank you for supporting and validating everything that I've ever wanted to do in my life.
I always will to the day I leave here.
You have validated every idea, and when they're stupid, you give me the wisdom to make it make sense. I cannot gush enough on you as a human being. Thank you for being you, and someday God will send me a you.
Oh, praise God. He will.
Thank you for tuning in with me, Celeste Mose, Miss Media. Make sure that you come back next week where my guest will be Rich Nas. Until next week, remember this. While I recognize a necessity for a basis of reality, true reality and true art lies in a reality that is felt. Odalan Redon, Miss Media.